skills would be more inclined to help him blitz with his cryptocurrencies. Alongside him is a man who's suave, sophisticated, and stylish. Only he thought that the event was still going on. Close, our winners this morning. Good morning, gents. How you doing?
Not bad, Paul. Pretty good, man.
We've always done things a little upside down in Australia. We get confused.
Yeah. November and January.
Yeah, why not? Inspired by... Oh, thank you. A big shout out to Perch, because inspired by him, you know, I feel like every man has the right to wear a disgusting, filthy mustache.
Oof. Let's talk about, before we get to the teams and everything else about this today, the tournament structure is quite interesting to me, the format.
Yeah.
We've got 16 teams, 2-8 sets of group. That's a little bit different, and there's also a dual tournament inside the groups itself. 6 qualifiers through to the playoffs as well. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think the groups are really interesting, really balanced this time around. We'll talk about that as we go through that. I really like the structure. I almost told them when they told me about the format that we should find something other to call it other than group phase, because we're used to watching these Dota tournaments where the group phase is maybe not so significant. We're sending 10 of the 16 teams home after these groups.
Yeah, absolutely. Secret VP, that probably number 1, number 2 seeds in this group. I mean, looking at the tournament as a whole, 2 of the kind of big 3 favorites. I think everyone kind of puts Secret, VP, and Liquid on a pedestal right now. These are the teams to beat. If you upset them, it means you've done incredibly well, and you are suddenly a breakout team at an event. So those are definitely the 2 teams to look for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both of the 2 groups, when you look at, there's a clear top team. There's a number 2 team that's pretty safe, but with maybe a little question mark. And then number 3 is more open. In Group A that we're still looking at right now, I really do like Vici Gaming as my number 3 team in Group A. I think that there are a couple hero combos that they're running right now that other teams have just had no answer when they're drafting around 11's Omni or Tidehunter, or where they're drafting around Lanham's ET. Other teams have just had a really hard time dealing with it. And then Group B, I think it's kind of similar. Liquid, pretty safe pick. The number 2 position, Newbies, a little more of a question mark, but still very solid. And then number 3 in Group B, I think, is wide open.
Yeah, it's been an odd season as well, hasn't it, in terms of DPC points. This is obviously another one of those. I think we're at round 10 now, so we're fast approaching halfway.
Yeah, and
that's gone quick, hasn't it?
Oh, no.
We kind of already have a few teams who are pretty established, very likely to beat TI, even though in theory they could be overtaken. But you know these are teams that are going to continue to rack up points. Yeah. We're going to see Liquid, VP, Secret get top 4 at some of these majors and minors. Maybe they get upset and don't do it at everyone, but they're going to keep getting points, and I don't see these teams not being a TI.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget as well, if you want to join us in terms of social media, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us who you think the favourites are for ESL One, using all the usual ESL channels, using the hashtag ESL One on Twitter as well. Let us know what you think about the format too. We'd love to hear from your thoughts on what it is, but give it a chance. Like, leave it until like day 3, right? So you've seen how it all pans out and how it works out. And then if your favourite team are out, then you can moan about the format. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely.
And then if they go through, you can be like, brilliant format, love the format. Format's great, what are you on about?
A little revisionist history never hurt anybody, right?
I think that's how it works. We talked a little bit about Group A already. Yeah. Let's talk about Group B in more depth. As you've said, it has a couple of outstanding... Do you feel like the 2 groups in a way are very balanced, but actually there are 2 clear favourites in both groups, and then the 3rd place may be what the rest of the teams are fighting for the scraps?
Yeah, I think when you look at Group B, Newbie's a little bit of a bigger question mark to me than Virtus Pro, because a Newbie, I feel for a while, if Kaka has a good tournament, that team is really hard to beat, but if he doesn't, they're very vulnerable. And I don't think the 3rd place team here is quite as close. Mineski and EG are both teams that I feel like they have the talent on those rosters to make some noise, to earn those DPC points throughout the season. Yeah. But Mineski's recent form has looked pretty uneven, and EG, we just don't know what they're going to be running in terms of that roster right now.
So basically, if Kaka gets Sand King, then they'll do all right.
I mean, if Kaka's on Sand King or Earth Spirit, they're probably good. Yeah.
Okay. The crazy thing is those 4 middle teams there all have DPC points. They all have at times looked like world-class teams. And then you have the other group where I feel like the bottom of the pack is maybe a bit more unknown, questionable. You've got 3 teams in Penta, Planet Dog, as well as SG Esports, who haven't made waves at all throughout the year. And that's where Group B as a whole looks a lot stronger, because down to the bottom, you're like, wow, even that 8th team in Group B is going to be a world-class team.
Yeah, I mean, we said at the start of the show, it's a very competitive tournament. We almost feel like it's a major in many ways. 16 teams. I think of the teams that we've got here, only OG are missing from the top 10 teams on the DPC chart right now. So this will give us a good indicator, good early indicator at the start of the year as to where teams are, won't it?
Yeah, and just because of where it falls, I always mentally divide the Dota season into thirds, and I think this is the first sort of mile marker in the second third of the season where you really start to learn about the team's path to TI, how they're going to improve, how they're going to get better, because that's the key thing to me. And this is also the first tournament, the first standard format tournament with teams of this quality that we're going to have seen in 7.07D.
Yeah, we'll get to talk about player movements, because there's been a few of those in January already in the player window. But there's one that stands out, and that's Misery to EG, because he's the guy that can repeat here this year. There's no one else left.
Yeah, I mean, Genting last year, DC taking the finals in a great 3-2 against Newbie. Misery, his new EG squad looks promising. They have obviously a ton of star power, and it feels like not just Misery being brought in, but Bulba as coach has brought in a focus on the strategic side, the kind of mentality of the team. They realize, we've got all the stars, we've got the piece of the puzzle. They got rid of one of their star players in the universe, world-class player, no one's going to deny that, but they felt like they needed someone who could direct the team and take them somewhere else.
Yeah, okay. We're going to get into our first match very shortly. So let's preview our opening match of Group A. It is Planet Dog versus Team Secret. You can see on the schedule right now on your screen. We've got Vici J versus Vici as well. What a great matchup that particular match is. Navi EG and LFY versus Newbie to come. All best of ones in the first round, and then we'll move on to the best of threes. We'll give you 2 of those later on today. So plenty of Dota 2 action coming on day number 1 here from ESL One Genting. As I said, we'll get into our first game very shortly. Let's talk about Planet Dog. Great name, I have to say. It's a little bit out there, and they could have fulfilled a bit of a small fantasy for me during the European qualifiers by playing Team Doggy. So it would have been Doggy versus Dog.
You're really into this, Paul.
Yeah, I love it. Really get far too carried away with the names. But joking aside, they've qualified from a region which is still relatively competitive, but I feel like it might have been easier for them. They've got a lot of CIS players in this team. It's a very mixed team, of course. You've got, I think, a Belarusian, a Ukrainian, a Russian, a Serbian, and a Bosnian in this team. So a very eclectic mix of players. Doesn't usually work in that region. This seems to be okay, though.
So the Tier 2 European scene looks dramatically better to me right now than at any point in the last couple of years. I think it's gotten a lot better. This team, though, is a bit of a question mark. They've lost 2 players from the roster that actually beat Kingwin to qualify for this event. They lost Kaiser, their mid, to Team World, and 33, their offlaner, to Optic. They're bringing in Boranisia as their mid, who's pretty much a complete unknown, but they're bringing in Mag as their offlaner, he's one of the just unsung heroes of Dota 2 for a very long time. He's actually the only player in Pro Dota 2 that has 90 or more wins on 3 different heroes. His Clockwork, his Darkseer, and his Batrider. Really great player.
Which in sporting terms would make him a journeyman, wouldn't it? Because he hasn't really done, I mean, all due respect to him, he's not really done it.
I think that's testament to how many games he's had to play, how many qualifiers he's been in, by just sheerly going through and being there from day 1 of Dota, and very much been on some top teams, then kind of fell off. Was never a star player. He never really stood out or carried those teams. He's always been like a stable rock on some of them, but he does feel like he and his teammates have a lot to prove at this event.
Their opponents are Team Secret, which I don't know how you feel about it. When it comes to best team of 2017, I think we probably lean more towards Liquid. But if you're looking at the best team so far in DPC, it's these boys, isn't it?
Oh, I don't think it's really even a question. I think Secret had 2 acquisitions, roster moves for them in Ace and Fada that have just worked out perfectly, and it's an example of something I've been saying for a long time, that as more teams are getting better, it's more about how a player fits into what the team wants to do than MMR. And Ace and Fada are just perfect for what Secret want to do. They want to build on what Liquid were able to do at TI and sort of refine that a little further. Both of those players, broad hero pools, diversity in play styles. Love what they bring to the table.
And Ace hasn't come from nowhere, because he's had quite a long history in and out of Dota 2. I know he's had some education, he's gone off and come back again and had some rest time and what have you. But he's played for so many teams. Why is it suddenly he's clicked here?
I think a lot of it is Puppy's leadership, because like you say, he does go way back to the very first the defense tournaments, which was like some of the first tournaments. He was playing in those with like Danish mixed squads. So he has been around for a long time. He's always been kind of a top-tier Danish player, but not someone who's broken out. But it seems like put him on a team with a world-class captain, and then he can shine.
Yeah, he's definitely doing that right now. And Fada, I mean, you mentioned him briefly, but he's made a great transition to this team, hasn't he?
He really has. I think, by the way, when we start talking about Puppy, that's something that he needs to get credit for, because now, over the last couple of seasons, he's done this over and over again, taking young players like now like Ace, that have a little bit of a track record, maybe not have had that high level of success with other teams, and bringing them onto the big stage and building them up to have success.
Okay, I'm hearing that the draft is almost ready for us to get into, so let's turn our attention to that in terms of picks and bans and what we might get in this particular draft. Are you expecting anything crazy game one?
So, big question to me going into this is, will Team Secret get and then pick their Bounty Hunter? Bounty Hunter was banned against them first phase in 10 of their 11 games at Dream League Season 8, which is the last big lane they played, and the 11th game, Liquid left it on the table. They first picked it, and they beat Liquid in 32 minutes. The other question overall in this tournament is, are we going to see Lycan? Our team's going to exploit that. That hero, right now in 5K plus pub matches, 62% win rate. There's no other hero above 58, so he's just looked so dominant.
Yeah, we're seeing bans on Clockwork, Chen, some of the more of the supporting cast. I think there's a very clearly defined 4-position meta with Clockwork, Tusk. Elder Titan's made a few kind of recent surges as well. Chen is definitely a targeted ban against teams who play Chen. It seems like no one has a good answer to deal with this early 15-20 minute push strats that are coming out from kind of the Chen specialists.
Yeah, I think the Chen ban is definitely targeted. I mean, Secret has 2 world-class Chen players, Puppy and Yapsor.
Yep.
I think that we're going to find out a lot based on whether this third ban from Dog is Bounty Hunter, and then whether Secret will take it.
I think what we're starting to see more is that teams are starting to understand on this new patch which are the cores that are going to be meta defining, because we're seeing, it used to always be you pick your 4 position, your 5 position first 2. The shift has now been to pick more core heroes in the first stage with a support. There's been a lot of first pick Tinies, there's been a lot of first pick Lycans, Razors have come out in the first 2. It really feels like there are certain cores that are now being established as first 2 pick worthy.
Yeah, and the common denominator, so I was looking at this trying to characterize, there's the first pick Tiny, as God said, and the common denominator here is teams have started picking cores in the first phase that are pushing cores. It's like, okay, if I can show that aggression, pushing picks right now in this meta, it's almost like poker. If I can pick a core in the first phase that is going to have that big pushing threat and that's going to force the other team to respond, that becomes easier, because it's then less about them giving them the opportunity to counter that particular hero and forcing the other team to respond to what could be a very strong pushing lineup. There's the Bounty Hunter from Secret.
Secret Bounty. I think
6-0 in this patch.
Yeah. The other big thing with first 2 picking cores is strong lanes. You don't want to. You can't pick a core in the first 2 that is going to get counterpicked or outlane. Hero like Tiny doesn't really have any bad lane matchups. Razor perhaps one of them. I'm not sure these heroes necessarily go head-to-head. If you're Planet Dog, you're looking to avoid that, but Razor, same thing. Not a core that is typically counterpicked. It does lead to responses where you make sure you lane something against it that's not going to get crushed by it, but Razor's never going to have a bad lane.
Yeah. Razor, though, not necessarily among the more successful heroes. I believe he's down to the mid-40s in win percent over the entire patch, and he's a safe hero for a lot of teams, but he's actually not that great a pushing hero in a lot of ways.
Good ace hero though.
Very good ace hero, and they've also, it's also one of the few things, Secret relative to a lot of the other top teams, they don't have that many flex picks. Razor works as a sort of flex pick. It's usually going to be ace, but they can run mid 1 on that hero.
Yeah. ET picked up. I was going to say this is generally, I think, a 4 position. You've seen the Bounty Hunter. You know what that opposing roam is going to be. Get the ET or the Tusk here. The ET is going to be the hero of choice. This has had a very high win rate and a lot of success in Pro Dota, and kind of been an emerging 4 position just because it's got great setup. He's got great team fight. Also stops. Kind of acts as a pseudo counter to a lot of the big late game carries we're seeing getting picked up in the second stage because of his aura.
You'd expect him to be a contested hero in this matchup as well. They both play it, both running Yapsor plays it as well. So it's got a real. It was always going to be contested, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's Elder Titan since D hit 7.07D about 30 days ago. He's almost a 60% win rate. The only hero higher that's been picked regularly has been the Terrorblade.
see what they want to go next here. I think one of the big heroes that is going to be very prevalent this tournament is going to be Brood. That it seems even without the invis and the webs and all that, the pathing, the way this hero can scale, if you can find the way to fit in a good Brood pick, what team's that, guys? They're playing right now in the other series, but neither Team Planet Dog nor Team Secret.
That's complexity. Hi, boys.
Hey, guys.
I'm hoping that Chessie's feeling better. I'm hearing that he's had a touch of food poisoning over the last couple of days. I'm hoping that he's feeling better. He hasn't been able to practice either, so I'm not sure they're going to be in the best of minds first thing in the morning, but good luck to them. They're playing in the other matchup over on the other stream, hopefully, right now. Back with Team Secret right now, and Puppy leading the way as ever in the middle.
Yep. Some support bands, Disruptor, Witch Doctor. We'll see which kind of 5 positions come out. For Secret, the bounty is normally Puppy's here, so that means
Yapzor's already out, isn't it?
Yeah, in a sense, but it does affect which heroes you want Yapzor on sometimes because Bounty Hunter is more of a roamer than like a lane secure, so often you'll see a 4 position for Yapzor that can perhaps secure lanes a bit better. Sometimes Rubik pairs with the Bounty Hunter. Sometimes you see like these Slaughter-esque heroes that can also just go to the safe lane if they need to, or go help out the off lane and secure that lane.
He's played an awful lot of Rubik recently as well. Easily his most played for.
But this is one of his other ones that's gotten a lot better recently, his Earth Spirit. I quite like him on this hero. It gives them that long-range initiation potential. Basically, Earth Spirit is a really good... He gives you a lot of stuff that Bounty Hunter lacks. He gives you that team fight presence as a support.
You feel like he's a Jalax, he's a crit-style Spirit player, though he's not really at that point yet, is he?
I wouldn't put him quite on that level.
I mean, that's a pretty world-class kind of couple of units, isn't it?
Yeah.
But still.
But I think that Yapzor is such an asset for Secret because he has so many heroes that he plays at a very high level, and he's somebody that you can put his hero out there in the first 2 or first 3, and you don't worry about as much about it getting countered. I guess we're doing a live look in here to the other series.
Their game is live against Fnatic.
Yeah.
Ogre picked up. That's a new-ish. I mean, some teams are really preferring the Ogre. Maybe something Planet Dog just really like to go to as their 5 position. Something VP have always kind of done a lot with, and very much a similar approach to Secret. You know, that you're going to get 2 melee supports that both roam. We're going to do the same with ET and Ogre, and we're going to see 3 cores on both sides that can be somewhat independent. So the supports are very freed up to be as active as possible.
Yeah, and I think you look on the other side, and the other thing that I worry about a lot with my support picks in this meta is I don't want to pick 2 supports that are going to put me at a big wave clear disadvantage, but Bounty Hunter and Earth Spirit they're not wave clearing heroes, so you can get away with the Ogre a little bit better.
So the Tide will go to Fada. Again, he's most played as well, so they're really going for comfort in this first game.
That's where often if you're in Planet Dog shoes, you want to get a lane dominant against Tide. This is not probably for the Tide. I'm wondering where this Ench is going to be headed.
I hope this is the offlane Enchantress.
Yeah.
Mag's very good on
it's going to. I was going to say it's got to be Mags.
It has to be a core with the Ogre and Elder Titan pick. Oh, I guess we've seen some offlane ET. So
Mag's an Enchantress player, so that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not like a counter to the Razor lane by any means, but definitely a hero that can actually go to the lane. You can not get completely destroyed with the points and untouchable. You can grab a creep if you want to as well, and really apply pressure. And you've got good roaming support, so I think that's where Enchantress really shines, is if you can get 1 point in the enchant, so you can get a couple creeps, and then you have supports roam in, dive towers with creeps tanking it, and get kills on a hero like Razor, who is very susceptible to being ganked.
Yeah, and he does. I like that. I like that analysis a lot, and it's also a style of where if she does end up in a lane against a Tide Hunter, right? Tide Hunter has become so big because with the removal of Poor Man's Shield from the game, Kraken Shell is now the king of early game damage mitigation. But the Enchantress, I mean, she can come to lanes and just push a lane and just kill Tide's tower. You don't have to kill the hero himself. You just put damage on his tower.
I think that's something, speaking of pushing towers, both teams lack right now, so they don't actually have that
really surprising.
Big carry pushing hero, which is likely to come from mid laners, I guess, now. I guess Planet Dog could put Tiny either lane, which is nice. Same for Secret with Razor. So there is flexibility there, but heroes like the Terrorblade we saw of a lot of the recent Galaxy Battles event, those kind of heroes kind of come to mind there.
I don't know about mid one on Terrorblade. That's not a hero that he's played a ton of. I think Terrorblade, the other 2 heroes that I'd add to the mix that I think make sense for Secret right now, the Shadow Fiend, certainly, and maybe even the Templar Assassin. She can struggle a little bit against the Ogre with Ignite, but mid one, I believe, is undefeated on that hero.
The nice thing for Secret is I feel like neither team has really revealed their strat despite picking 4 of their 5 heroes, because it really is both teams' drafts can be largely defined by their final picks, and Secret, they've got the counter pick. So they can theoretically, if they think TB's the pick, they can put mid 1 on the Razor in mid and then pick a Terrorblade for Ace in the safe lane or some other carry. So they do have that kind of flexibility having the final counter pick.
Yeah, I was mentioning that earlier, that relative to the other teams, relative to the other top teams right now, Secret actually have surprisingly few flex picks, but Razor is one of those. And in that draft, in this particular draft, that's really important.
So Planet Dog, I think you just need to get something that is going to be pretty stable, lane secure. I guess you are thinking about pushing as well here, but...
So, Boranesia, very, very new, but he did have 3 pretty good games on Mirana recently.
Oh, yeah.
He had 30, 10, and 36, I believe, over 3 games on Mirana. I think that pick sort of makes sense.
Yeah, one of those heroes that always feels like, oh, it's okay, you can pick Mirana. It just... Core Mirana is always underwhelming, but yeah, against a Razor, it sounds decent too, because you're not worried about a static link if it's that 1v1 matchup. But... see what other kind of... I think you just need something more explosive here, which is kind of what I'm looking at, like the Shadow Fiends, the TAs, but Mirana will come out. So going for what's kind of been comfortable for them and a staple.
You know, I mean, I think when you're talking about a player like Boranesia, he's basically completely new to the competitive scene. This is his first lane event. I think it's important to go with a hero that he's comfortable with.
Yeah. This is a great Ember game. Not that Ember's really a hero right now, but if there's anyone to make it work, it's mid 1.
Wow, quite.
See, I'd like to see them go with something like an SF that could just really punish them. Like mid 1 is, I think right now, with Sumail changing roles, I think mid 1 is the most punishing laner. Right? I mean, you always have to mention CGY.
Yeah, I would say like someone like No One is perhaps a bit like No One in Sumail always had like 1-2, but mid 1's kind of up there.
See,
that's not a punishing laner.
Well, you say that, but mid 1 has actually had games. He had a DK game where he dumpstered Maybe's Queen of Pain mid.
Yeah, he can dumpster Mirana, but he's not going to get kills in that sense. Like punishing in the sense, like you're not going to be playing. You can't play aggressive and dive towers as DK, but yeah, you do win a lane against Mirana. That's a favorable matchup.
And the most important thing is that as we were talking about the lineups, is that DK gives Secret the pushing power. That was the one biggest missing piece from the draft.
And that's saying Mirana, I feel like, doesn't give a whole lot for Planet Dog.
We're not going to do predictions. Instead, we're going to do it slightly differently. How about you give me your thoughts on whether Planet Dog can win this game?
I think Secret are pretty heavy favorites in this game. I think for Planet Dog to win this game, that Mirana needs to get off to an extremely good start mid. They need to honestly, Planet Dog can win this game by taking two early tier 1 towers. Let's put it that way.
Okay, Gods?
I think it's tough. Draft did not help them. I mean, it's anyone can win a game, but I think with this draft, it's going to be very unlikely.
Two tier 1s before 10 minutes.
Some fence sitting from our panel members, I think. There.
I don't think they will.
Fine. All right. The confidence is not strong in the Dog this time around. But let's see how they get on in their matchup against Team Secret, and we'll head over to your commentators for game number 1.
And I don't think you'll find a whole lot more optimism here for Dog on this side of the panel either, at least not from me. I'm not really feeling the Mirana. I think the last time that I saw Mirana was watching Planet Dog, but then the only other time was Optic. And from what I heard is that talking to CCNC about the time they did pick Mirana, they were like, we just wanted a hero to survive. And that, for me, is the only reason you would ever pick a Mirana, is that it's just a hero that's hard to gank mid. Why did they pick Mirana?
I kind of like it. It's mobile. It can't really die.
Okay.
Like, once it gets a BKB, I think once BKBs hop up on the map, Planet Dog will be okay.
You think so?
I'm going with the Dog.
Oh, because you were like, your last predictions were actually much different from, it was like almost night and day from what you were thinking about. Like Tinker, you were thinking about those sort of like bigger late game heroes that were kind of deterred against team fighting. But instead they went the opposite and chose like the aggressive mid.
I thought that Secret was going to pick something that could just split the map.
Yeah.
And so that's where the advent of heroes like Tinker come in. Because if you think about conceptually heroes like Terrorblade, what does Terrorblade do? He shoves out the side lanes using illusions. Like that's what he does best. You don't ever have to participate in fights. You just you use your illusions to put pressure on the map at all times. And what Tinker does best is for 0 cost at all times, he'll keep those waves pushed back into you. And so that's where I thought they'd kind of go in that direction. Because I felt like Secret needed something to shove in the waves pretty aggressively.
But instead, they take a little bit more direct approach at the game and actually just pick up the Dragonite, run a hero that's not going to be focusing so much on split pushing or wave clearing, but really on pushing towers. Dichira is going to be caught out here by a secret rotation. The early pickup here of the Bounty Hunter and Earth Spirit is going to be able to do a lot of damage to Dichira, but he will survive and will secure them that top bounty rune.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think for Secret, like the way that you play into this is you can just run at them non-stop.
Okay.
Because when you have heroes like Razor and Tidehunter, there's two ways that you go with it. Either you just overwhelming teamfight and try to end the game, or you take a mid that's a little bit more greedy and you can play something like a forward protect 1 style, which is something that we see more often with them when they have, especially with Ace, than they did in the past with their other players.
You already see the dual lane unfolding in the mid lane. The Ogre definitely needs to help out a little bit, right? Because I can't imagine the Dragon Knight versus Mirana matchup is very fun for the Mirana, who already has like relatively low base damage, and it's going to be even worse against the Breeze Fire.
Dude, I have not seen Mirana in such a long time.
Yeah. J4 is hoping to be able to secure that lane. Now, we do have a safe lane out there, a Tidehunter, and we are going to be able to have the aggressive push out from Secret in their tri-lane with Ace, the Razor, going up against Mags and Enchantress. They are going to be able to get a nice roll in. They already have the extra damage onto the Razor, so they can just body block for a good amount of time. They can get a lot of damage onto Mag, and are actually going to try and go for the kill. The Q is just enough to be able to finish him off, and Ace will end up being able to pick up that first blow.
And mid one, getting dual lane, doesn't really care about it though. That's the benefit of having heroes like Dragon Knight, is that you don't really care about these dual lanes, because once you pick up level 3, you have enough HP. You get the stick as well for the 1 HP regen, you're fine.
So it's about time the J4 kind of needs to cycle out then, just because he's no longer going to be that effective.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm not sure where he's supposed to go. Because if he goes bottom, I don't know if Ada cares too much.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, Diarra, this is a pretty free lane for him. I think I've seen this before. Like, Tiny is one of the few heroes that has kill potential at all times on the Tidehunter, so he doesn't really care about that either.
Yeah. You just get like so much harassment damage from his tree cleave.
I'm not sure if they kill anybody at top either. Like,
yeah.
This is such a weird meta though, where everyone just goes to the off lane if you're the 1 position nowadays.
Yeah.
Do Yeps or...
Milan is very close to being able to pick up this kill. He does have the Spirit and Stomp, but does not try and go for it. Now he's going to be caught by Yaps or the turnaround. They manage to get off the Stomp. Oh, sure, can actually stop that one. Good play there from Puppey. Interruption, and they will manage to pick up another kill. Secret already up 2-0. They're going to make a go here on the mid one. They managed to land the Fire Blast into the arrow here. With the double damage, they're actually doing a good amount of work here on the mid one. Thinking about going for the dive. They do have leap charges, but Mirana by himself is never going to do enough damage to bring down that Dragon Knight.
Once you right-clicked him, I actually didn't see the bar move at all.
It was just like that time where the right-click was, that arrow was heading towards the Dragon Knight. He probably regened up more than the damage was done.
Nothing happened. I was really surprised at that. I was like, oh, well, maybe if he hits him like twice here, he can just leap in and go. Okay. Nothing, the bar did not move. That's scary, dude, when you see that.
Yeah.
The bar did not move.
So you said you've seen this before. Kraken Shell has no effect against that cleave, right?
Yeah, you don't really
That's
care
got to
about
be a huge advantage.
It's one of those matchups where I'm always surprised, because Tidehunter is usually very successful against pretty much every melee hero, aside from maybe like heroes like Axe.
Yeah. I've tried this a couple times, and one of the big problems is that your damage reduction, not just from the Kraken Shell, is negated, but even your Anchor Smash has a hard time, because Tiny's always going to be able to get a swing in before you get close enough to Anchor Smash him, so you're just getting a lot of free harassment damage a lot of the time.
At the same time, Bot is doing fine.
Yeah.
Like, he is doing
really
good
CS.
in this lane, yeah. This is the benefit of having the lane always push into you, and the fact that you can always contest. And you can always scare them by pushing into the side, but Ancient stacks, try to get the triple. Don't think he got either of those stacks with the ET Spirit, unfortunately.
Yeah, always when you try and like stretch yourself a little bit too thin in stacking, they are going to try and go for this combination again. Warrior's going to be able to land the arrow, follow up with the Starstorm. A good amount of damage there, and the Breathe Fire actually misses on Boros, so he's going to be able to keep up this damage on a mid one. They're going to leap in and commit this time around, but the air's going to be a TP, and nice in through the tree there by mid one. He's going to be able to get off the healing salve, and that means J4 will end up dying for the dive onto mid one. 3-0 now for Secret.
Yeah, and if you can't magic burst them, like we're seeing right now, the Mirana's right clicks are so bad that it's just not having enough impact.
Yeah.
They stunned him for like a full 4 seconds, and they weren't able to bring him down.
And he's even going the just kind of like pure right-click build straight into the Ring of Aquila just to try and buff up her lackluster damage, and it's still not making a difference.
Yeah. And this is a better game than we normally see out of Fada. Because Fada's kind of pioneered the style where, I don't want to say like pioneered, but he has a style where he simply just like runs at you. And if he dies, he doesn't really care. Because normally he plays these heroes that, at minimum, it takes 2 heroes to kill him at all times. And so when you have this kind of commitment, Secret feels really good. Because it alleviates the pressure from your 2 cores. That's the benefit of having like star players in the 1 and 2 roles, is you can play this kind of style where you die like 5 times in a game and you look really bad, but you draw enough attention to yourself in the early game that it doesn't really matter. Because nowadays in Dota, it feels like these early game commitments don't mean as much as when the game progresses, right?
Yeah.
Like these 5 early game pickoffs don't mean anything compared to this like 1 late game pickoff that you get.
Elder Titan and Ogre. This time they're going to bring that extra support to try and get the kill, but at the same time they are trying to roll in on Mag. He's already got the heal loss, so no chance they can get that kill. They managed to land the Stomp into the arrow. Good combination with the Starstorm. This time around, it will be enough to be able to bring down mid one. He's going to live a little bit longer with the Magic Wand, but they will beat him down to a pulp. Finally, it's going to be Planet Dog 2.0. Got their first kill of the game. Looks like Fada is actually going to try and get some damage onto Dichira here. With a Ravage, they might just be able to bring him down. They're already blown 1 stun. They do have the Shuriken to make sure that Dichira can't just TP out, but it looks like he may just be healthy enough to walk away from this one. So maybe a little bit of a premature Ravage there being used on a kill that simply wasn't really going to happen.
Yeah. At the same time, I don't know if they care too much. Like, you would care about this if your other lanes were going very poorly, but like look at this DK. He's still winning in CS. Like, really dominantly too. He's up like 12 CS.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bora still isn't ahead in net worth.
Yeah.
Compared to that Dragon Knight.
The reason though you go for that kind of timing gank is A, is like you want to help him out, but B, it's because of the catapult timing of it as well. Most times like Dragon Knight will come in, and so you anticipate like either a 2-on-3, and so you bring both your supports this time around to try to stop that, so DK can't just pop his Dragon form and push in with the wave and get like a free 300-400 damage on the mid tower. Because then by the time your next Dragon form comes up, if the Mirana is shoved out of the wave, it's really easy for him to take that tower. And we've talked about the importance of the mid tower in pretty much every cast, and the reason for it is just because it controls so much of the map. Like, it's the opening to your jungle, and if you stack all these camps for this tiny, and you can't protect your mid tower, then it creates a liability where Seeker can just run in with their DK level 2 Dragon form. He'll cleave them all himself.
Oh, they have a sneaking suspicion that Puppey is lingering around. They pop the Divine Shield up on that Courier. They will finish up Phase Boots on Mag. That'll really help out against this Razor lane. Enchanter's already a very naturally fast hero, but with Phase Boots should be able to keep ahead of the Razor when he goes for the static link.
It's great against DK too. Like, you just eat through him. I think that Dog's lineup is... I think that Secret, of course, is like top 3 team in the world, so...
But you think the draft is actually even?
I don't know if it's even, but I think it's a winnable draft for Dog. I didn't think it was as bad as it was made out to be.
8-minute Bounty Rune. Fada will walk away from that one. Another one picked up for Dichira with his bottle build.
At the same time, if I see a way that they lose, it's their lack of control. When you play against Bounty Hunter lineups, of course, like the very easy way to think about it is that everyone on the enemy team moves very quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so generally, you just need heroes with heavy lockdown to be able to
heavy
do so.
stuns.
But if you look at Planet Dog's lineup, like their 4 and their 5 positions, there's some team fight on their side, but only one of their cores really has any reasonable lockdown. Like, you can't really rely on Arrow heavily.
So we're just pretty much relying on the Tiny to really give us those good opportunities.
Yeah.
Ace is going to actually make a rotation down here to bottom lane. I didn't see that one coming, so it looks like they're going to try to set up this kill with a second Ravage that's up. Kill Dichira, make sure that he doesn't get that early Shadow Blade.
So he does have Ravage up again, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the
That's
first one
another,
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it's like early Ravage is like, most of the time we're not using Ravage very effectively in the first 10 minutes of the game.
It really only matters when your lanes are going really poorly.
Yeah.
Because if your lanes are going really poorly, then the
You have
first
to
Ravage,
recover in some way, right?
But it doesn't. I mean, it refreshes so fast. It also matters when, if you're a Tidehunter, I guess I should elaborate. It matters when a Tidehunter is very underleveled and you hit your level 6 timing so late, like you get it at like 10 minutes. Then of course it matters quite a bit because your first Ravage of the game just comes a lot later. Whereas like he was level 6 in like 6 minutes. He doesn't care.
Combo stuns onto the Yellow Titan. That roll is definitely going to miss from Yapzor, and he may be in big time trouble because he's going to be caught by the Spirit, and Bora is going to be able to capitalize on that one. Should be able to pick up the kill pretty easily. Second kill on the board for Planet Dog as they start moving their heroes around a whole lot, and it actually works out to Ditchy-Raw's favor as well because he managed to dodge that attempted setup from Ace down in that bottom lane that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Courier coming in once again though. Puppey though, not in.
Yeah, Puppey's struggling to find these Courier pickoffs.
Yeah, both supports haven't had the kind of impact. Like combined, they've got like 6 CS. The ET's even above that.
Oh!
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Yapzor in the trees, roll away.
Huh.
It's going to be good. They are going to go for this push anyway, though.
That was a. You like never see anyone die like that.
Yeah, just a straight up breathe fire. It was right on the edge, and it was barely enough damage.
The Dota math was wrong.
Yeah.
That's like a. That's a real feels bad man death. Because you know you're mid
Easily
laner.
avoided.
Yeah, people helped you out. You lost your tower too.
Yep.
This is exactly what they wanted to avoid. Because now all the stacks are open for Secret to contest, and they can contest it. They've got a Tide that can just run in. They have 3 really tanky cores. They've got really beefy cores that just run in. Like, what is Planet Dog supposed to do? We already talked about how their team fight was a little bit inferior in the early game, and now you run into this particular issue.
And they just tried a wraparound onto a tower,
Yeah.
couldn't actually take it, and the next Dragonite form, as well as Ravage stuff, so you expect Secret to take yet another tier 1 tower.
That's why I was if you for example, like if they have a hero like DK, of course it was reversed, right?
Yeah.
Planet Dog picked their hero first, but if you're playing against a hero like DK, often you want heroes that can spam back so that you don't just immediately lose your tower. Like you take heroes like the Deucer, the Tinker, so that DK can't just breathe fire you repeatedly, shove in your wave, then take the tower. Like that's why Soul Ring is so big on that hero, because it's 0 cost for you nowadays because of your high HP regen, right?
Yeah. Ace gonna have some issues here. He's actually gonna go ahead and pop the ultimate and turn, making sure he's got the static link on the mag, taking away some of that damage, and also dodging the Spirit Stomp there.
Look, they just don't have they don't really have lockdown. Like they're heavily reliant on.
And these heroes are so tanky. Their burst damage, it feels like it's just not going to be enough. When Tiny finally does come online with his combination, I'm struggling to see him actually being able to one-shot any of these cores.
Yeah. That's why you see Fada gets the drums and J4 gonna get gone on. Mid one pops the Dragon form, gonna get the stun off. The roll was used, but kicking a few right clicks should be able to do this, and now they're gonna grab the top tower.
As a result, Planet Dog need to be able to put some pressure somewhere else. They kind of had to see one of these pushes coming. It's a Dragonite lineup after all with the Razor and the Tidehunter. They're going to bully you pretty heavily. He actually went for the early Blink Dagger? Did I see him just resell it?
No, he got, pretty sure he picked it up.
Is this a Blink Dagger game for you over the Shadow Blade? Do you think he needs to have that immediate impact?
I think he needs to be pretty aggressive on the map.
Yeah.
Oh, he did sell it. So he wants to run bottom and buy it in the side shop. That's what that tells me. And they want to go for this kill on this Razor. So the question is, like, does Ace see this? And more importantly, if Ace does see this, like, do you rotate the Tidehunter? Because if I'm Secret and I want to defend this tower, then you need your Tidehunter there. Because there's no way that you can burst that hero. And if you overcommit to him and he gets the Ravage off, then your entire team gets turned. So,
and if you are Secret, don't you want to defend these towers?
Yeah, I think
simply
so.
because you're so far ahead.
Like, look at this right now. So he does buy it on the side shop, but Secret is aware of this. So now they're just sending in Fada to run in, and he doesn't care.
They're going to find multiple pickoffs here. Milan, he's going to have his stomp canceled once again by the Shuriken. They're going to be able to catch him pretty easily, as well as the Ogre. And this is actually may lead into a level 6 for Puppey as well. Fortunately, Moonlight Shadow does actually manage to save Milan. He's looking to be able to still catch Puppey here. And Ditchy Rocket's on top of him with the combination. We are going to be able to have our first kill of the Blink Dagger Tiny. But still, that was not what Planet Dog wanted out of that. They wanted a rotation that allowed them to take a fight, get a pick off, take a tower. Secret, they just seem to have a very solid, easy read of the game.
Yes. Like what Planet Dog wanted to do was they wanted to take that bottom fight, buy the Blink Dagger, hope that Ace stays, immediately burst him, and then just roll a tower. So you need to get map control back. And I think Secret stall out the stack. Like, I'd like them to just take this tower and then immediately go steal the stack and challenge Planet Dog. And just say, like, what are you going to do about it? We're taking all your tier
Tidehunter is
ones.
taking the Ancients with Anchor Smash.
Yeah.
You have to roll up into a Ravage. They are going to try and catch Milan here. They do successfully grab with Yapzor. Ace is on top of him as well with a static link. That's easily one fight to even cancel out the TPs. J4 gets a little bit too close to him. He's going to be a second victim to this push from Secret. And they say, well, heck, I'm just taking 2 heroes. We might as well push for the tier 2 as well. Digirod comes in from behind. Tries to take out Yapzor. Not quite enough. Managed to get the cake to actually manage to help out with the kill on a mag. And still gets the roll away. Trying to find the Tiny. Fortunately, he did manage to blink out just ahead of that field.
It's pretty disastrous when you can't even kill.
Yeah, support as a Tiny with a blink dagger. It's supposed to be. Those are supposed to be your freebies.
And Planet Dog, they're going to lose a lot of HP on this tower. Secret, they got free kills. Absolutely should not have happened. Like, Secret, that wasn't really a gank, right? They just ran at them.
Yeah.
And Planet Dog should have, I mean, they were well aware that they were there. It wasn't like a surprise.
Planet Dog just seems utterly lost in the game right now. It seems like their timing was just a little bit wrong, right? We had that top tier 1 push by Secret. Normally you want to try and push the opposing safe lane tower. At that time, they were like a good minute and a half behind that.
So they have all 3 tier 1 towers still up. That is pretty rare to see. Because normally the natural progression is if the enemy's taking your tower, you just mirror and take their safe lane tower, like you said.
Yeah.
But because of that, Planet Dog, they don't have any aggressive moves to make. Because at this point in the game, what the tower does is it shoves the wave back into you, right? So for Secret, they don't really have to keep on top of all 3 lanes, so they can just do this 5-man into one area, and if one of their lanes gets contested, they can just send Fada there to act as like a barrier, so that if you overcommit for this hero, he'll just ravage you, everyone will TP, and you all die anyways.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird position for Dog to be in, because when you don't take these early tier 1s, and your team fight isn't superior, then you're kind of just like pigeonholed into one section of the map. And there's a lot of stacks that they can steal.
Yeah.
Like, Fada's just walking in, doesn't really care.
Pump faking the gush over and over. Digirod is going to get out with the Moonlight Shadow being used. They are also going to go for an aggressive maneuver here into the Radiant jungle, see if they can actually catch someone farming and turn that into a tower push. So they desperately need to get some sort of map control, because we could see earlier Puppey was being pretty merciless and taking even the offlane camps away. Getting Warden. Looks like Mag is going to be caught by this rotation from Secret.
Secret is so brutal to play against right now. Like, the last few tournaments I've seen, like, their entire team reads the game so well. Like, nobody's getting punished right now on the side of Secret. Like, this is just kind of absurd. The way that they treat the map.
Okay, good read by Digirod.
Very nice read. But, like, aside from that moment, Secret, you can see that Ace is reading all the moves. Like, whenever they want to make that rotation down, they're already on top of that.
They're going to catch Digirod after getting that kill. He's going to get a little bit farther, but still the static link stays on him. 11,000 gold lead by 17.5 minutes in. Dominant start here by Secret, ESL One Genting. Shadowblade attempted pickoff. This is kind of like the Dragon. I feel it's kind of like Dragonite versus Puck, in the same way that the Shadowblade, it's got to be really effective versus that Mirana.
Yeah, she's so afraid to show her face right now. The largest thing is that they devoted 3 heroes to consistently try to gank mid 1, and it didn't matter because she died solo and then lost her tower. So it resets so much of the advantage.
Yeah, and Mirana is not one of those heroes that can really come back from that sort of deficit very easily.
No, it's not easy for her.
You can see Secret are just kind of swarming all over that offlane jungle area. Puppey getting some vision behind mid. They are going to go and roll in onto Bora. Now he's got both J4 and Mag behind him, but it looks like it's not going to make much of a difference. Bora fortunately does get the leap off. And Mag, he's now going to be the one in big time trouble as mid one comes in. Digirod actually managed to blow up Puppey. That's all he's going to be able to take out of that fight, as now Yapzor and Fada are just going to be able to focus him down. He's not going to have the opportunity to be able to blink away so easily. So Digirod just gets out whatever damage he can, even chucking the tree at Yapzor as a spiteful move before his death. That'll be another push.
I don't really like talking about item choices because usually it's not very interesting, but I really like the way that secret itemized. So they build the Silver Edge on mid 1 so that he's just this monster. He always has kill potential on the Enchanter solo now. The Razor going for the Hood so that the Tiny, like they're just one-to-one countering all the course.
Yeah, it's the only hero of the course, right? Like Razor would be kind of the squishiest one that maybe Tiny can kind of threaten, but once he's got that Hood, that's just out of question.
No, it doesn't care. They just have 3 really like uber tanky cores.
And a bounty hunter scouting out all of their rotations, so it's not even like you can get an easy 4-man on top of them. Puppey will always get the vision to be able to find the opportunities, such as this kill onto J4. That's going to be a track kill.
In return.
They need something desperately out of this. Milan is going to be able to catch Puppey here. Gets the stomp. And hopefully their kind of vision lasts long enough. Puppey's going to try and juke it through the trees. The Spirit is giving them good vision, though.
Puppey was so stuck.
Yeah.
YapzOr took the better angle. Puppey's like, alright, well, that's my life.
We're going to have a first item Manta for the Mirana, but I don't think that makes any difference. If you are significantly lacking in damage, Manta is not the item to give you that.
Yeah. She just doesn't hit hard enough. And she doesn't push hard enough. So you have this hero that can't exactly team fight. When she does get 6 slotted, like, yeah, she's going to be useful, but Secret plays this suffocating style. It feels like they're everywhere and they're nowhere. Because your lanes are always being consistently shoved in by somebody, it feels as though they don't have to show on the map, and when they do show on the map, you're just losing heroes left and right. And the fact that the 2 support heroes have kill potential on everybody make it so hard to play.
Secret's finally like, okay, we can give up that safe lane tower, we don't want to make that rotation.
Now you can be a little bit lazy.
Yeah. They are still going to wrap and see if they can catch. Now that they force heroes back to be able to defend, they're going to try and grab some heroes up from Planet Dog inside of their own jungle. They are going to be able to grab Mag. The track coming in, and the burst damage that should be almost enough, but fortunately got the heal out, as well as an excellent stomp from our Elder Titan. And Vada still going to try and keep up with him. He can't actually ravage to slow down Mag if he really wants to. Mag, quite the fast hero. Looks like they caught the Mirana. Oh no, that's going to be so bad for them. There goes the Ravage, throws it out. Finally does catch Mag at the backside, with looks like with the burst damage from YapzOr and Vada. Together, they will manage to pick up not just the 1 kill, but a second one, both of them being tracked up.
Dude, they're getting
a tier 3 at the same time.
They're actually just running in as 2. They're so dominant at this point. Planet Dog, I had so much faith.
Did you though?
I mean, you gotta make it. You gotta give them some keys to victory, but this is more just how good Secret is.
Yeah.
They read pretty much every single movement in the game, and that wasn't just with like the help of Puppey, right? Like Ace just consistently outplayed them. And Puppey, once again, I think he's like their only deaths.
I think so too, or at least close to it. 18-7. Already.
I think mid 1 died like
1 lane of racks. Yeah. From that 1 gank mid, right? Toss up there, Digirod trying to focus everything they have with the DKA. They will manage to bring them down. It took both the Tiny and the Mirana their whole slew of nukes to be able to finally take out one of the cores. Planet Dog still have to fight it out against Ace as well as Vada. Vada is going to be the one trailing behind, limiting the damage coming out from Planet Dog. And if Boris not careful, he's going to overextend himself, but fortunately he managed to jump in from Digirod, taking out that Razor, and now Vada, who's not going to be able to do enough damage to really threaten anybody, does manage to get a blink away though. Highly doubt he managed to escape all this. His Space Boot drums build is nice for all that movement speed, but can't actually stay ahead of all these heroes. 18-10. Planet Dog living on a bit of a dream, a bit of a prayer right now. They are 2 lanes of racks down by 23 minutes. Don't think I've ever seen a comeback like that.
Dota is such a funny game. It's like, the score's 18-10, and if you're a novice to it, and you didn't see things like the gold, you just think to yourself like, it's not that bad. Like, 18-10, that's somewhat close, but then you realize like, Puppey has 5 of your 10 deaths. And Puppey's just chilling, like, look at this.
And he's still got far. He's still got
not like this.
Oh my god, the 5-man kick into the silence. YapzOr just completely ruins that Roshan attempt. And now the real damage dealer is here. Mid one's here to be able to go onto the Enchantress, man, to get the stun down. Good clear damage as well onto both Milan as well as Mag. Only will be able to pick up the 1 so far, but YapzOr, he wants the kill on Milan. He is going to be able to get the urn charge and make sure that track gold will go into the coffers. Secret, bit by bit, he will end up dying. Dichira has to make the big play now. He has to get the crazy blink in. He's going to be able to go for the kill on Puppey, but after that, what else are you going to do, Dichira?
At least they made Puppey very
They're trying to
annoying.
tilt the captain.
Misery used to say that. He said, like, if you're going to kill anybody and you're losing, you might as well try to tilt the captain. But unfortunately, that only works in best of 3s. Like in best of 1s, I'm sure Puppey's...
It's not like Puppey's like, I'm done with this game, GG.
Yeah,
I'm done.
You gotta tilt the captain. You gotta really annoy him so that in the future, you know, he doesn't really want to play the game. But unfortunately for them, like I don't think Puppey cares in the least. They're gonna pick up the W.
They're not getting any breaks out of this one. Bora barely getting out with 20 HP.
At least the Mirana will live.
Is he gonna get out? He's really not. He has no more haste. I bet. I bet. Yeah, Yapsor's hunting for this kill. You know he is.
Oh, Raptor,
he wants
rude.
it.
That's just
run
straight up
through tier 2s. Bora has to hide himself in the trees.
Okay, now he's good.
All right.
They're not even bothering going for Ancients? Or, not Ancients, Shrine. Yeah, normally when you're this far
Just
ahead,
end
you
it.
hit the Shrines. Alright, Cap, so... You know, we want to keep things exciting. How does Planet Duck?
They need different heroes.
They need different heroes.
They need to swap. Remember the Dota command? Swap?
Yeah.
You could swap players?
If they could take
They
one...
need to swap all 5 players right now.
Mid one just blinks in, not care.
Ravage on to 3. They're going to be able to combo this with the Shiva, slowing everybody down. Milan tries to get the best stomp he can, but mid one is just sitting on the front lines with BKBs. So not much you can do about that one. They're leaving Mag for last. That is going to be the cherry on top of a winning team fight for Secrets.
They're just getting
Closing out the game.
GG as Secret show, at least in this best of 1, there are levels to this game.
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal.
Gotta feel good if you're Secret, though.
And that was
your
clean.
first game of ESL One Genting.
Yeah, that was clean.
You're just like, all right, we came to play. We're not going to waste any time. And it looks like we're back on schedule. Planet Dog, okay, you said Secret, super good team and all that,
Yeah.
right? Like easily top 3, right? There's
sure,
a
no
gigantic step between the top 3 right now and everybody
Yeah.
else. So hard game for Planet Dog. But was there anything out of that game, anything at all, even one small little sliver that you could say, I like that part about Planet Dog? Something to give them hope for this tournament
like,
and not take this loss so
I think
hard.
their rotations made sense. They were just a little bit too late, and I felt like they didn't have the heroes to team fight with. But they'll have a better idea of that. Like these kinds of losses aren't always the worst thing because it'll make you reevaluate certain.
You get to go back
have.
through the replay, look at this from Team Secret's perspective, and go like, how did they beat us so hard?
Yeah, and at that point, like it's all a learning experience, anyways. I think Planet Dog is watching their games in the quals. I think that they're a very decent team, but right now, like Secret, I mean, they just rolled on all cylinders.
Yeah,
who knows, like further down the tournament, if they run into each other, like.
I was casting them for the qualifiers. I got to see a good amount of them, and they looked pretty good compared to everyone else. And then it was just like a team like OG who seemed like one step up on them. So Planet Dog, they definitely have a lot of work to do if they want to keep moving forward here at ESL One Genting. We're going to take a break, so we'll have Planet Dog. We'll be back with the panel.
As you get older.